Whether you live in a small apartment or you just want to make a small space in your house look bigger, there are quite a few things you can do to trick the eye. So today we are sharing expert tips to make the most of small spaces and maybe even turn them into your favorite rooms in the house. Joseph Ward with Homeward Designs joins me with details, and you're kind of helping us with two goals here. Number one, making a small space look bigger, but also not having them be boring. I was telling you, that's my issue with my powder room, so I'm excited to hear what you're going to share today.
Exactly. Just because it's small, in fact, that's a great opportunity to do something more fun.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's start with the big vision here. So a lot of people live in studio apartments and mother-in-law apartments, and you say those can be cute and colorful and functional, all of those things.
Yeah, because again, you get in these smaller spaces and you might want to play it safe, but it's interesting that the smaller the space, the more fun you can potentially have as far as colors and patterns and textures, and you don't want to go overboard, but you definitely can do some fun things, like the example in this mother-in-law apartment, was over a garage, and it could have just been white, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can put some things on the walls, you can do some pale blues, you can introduce some pops of warmth in the wood and the rug and stuff like that.
And you said that the dining table is stone, so you can use that. It's like multifunctionality.
Yeah, it's multifunction. It's supposed to be just like this does this one thing, and you have to have this island, you have to have this eating area. In this case, it's like we put this round dining table that had like a marble top or a stone top on it, so that you could use it to prep and whatnot. And then also we put in one of those induction cooktop ovens. You familiar with those?
Yes.
They're like just like a sheet of glass, essentially. And so when you don't have a lot of counter space, instead of having a gas range, it's pretty clunky. You can just put a sheet of glass, which is the induction oven. You can use it to serve and prepare more, if that makes sense. And it doesn't get hot.
Yes.
If the pans get hot, the cooktop doesn't.
Yes, I know. I think that is the future because, well, I mean, was it New York who just banned gas stoves or something? So I think we all might be moving that direction. And one trick that I hear a lot is if you have a small space, put a mirror. I've done this.
Right.
Is that something we're still doing? Does that help?
Yeah, it's like you're putting on a magic show in your house, because mirrors really do play a big role in opening up and essentially doubling a space. So in this example of a bathroom, I think we have two that are essentially the same concept, where I'm trying not to break things up. So obviously you have your tub, you have your toilet, you have your sink, and again, if you address it typically, you would break it up. Say I want the tile to stop at the tub, and and start segmenting things, and it becomes much easier to kind of see how small the space is. But if you unify it all by putting like tile on all the walls and the mirrors that go, in this case, it's a mirror that goes across the entire bathroom into the shower and kind of opens up the whole space. And man, some of this one has really low ceilings, so it really opens it up.
Yeah, so it's not like segmenting it. You also said there's a trick with indirect lighting.
Yeah, in one of the bathroom examples, we had the ceiling height. We were able to drop it a little bit, because again, the smaller the space, you don't want like this towering ceiling. So we dropped it just 6 inches and put some indirect lighting on the back wall, which again tricks the eye and it has a hard time telling how big something is just off first glance.
I love that. Okay, so let's talk about scale. I noticed in that mother-in-law apartment picture, like the dining chairs were kind of thinner, they weren't bulky. What do we look for when we're thinking about scale and small spaces?
Yeah, so furnishings, obviously, and this is something that we oftentimes overlook, because we go to a showroom not really knowing what we want to buy some furniture, and we see something, it looks comfortable, but it's massive. You know what I mean? It's just this huge thing doesn't fit. So it has to be a little bit tailored, it has to be a little smaller, and the same thing goes with tile in your bathroom. So in a smaller space, I like to use a smaller tile, because if you use like a bigger tile, your eye will be able to pick up that there's like 1, 2, 3 of them. You know what I mean? It's like just feels like it's small. But if they're smaller tiles, your eye can't pick up how big the room is, because it can't see, your mind can't pick up how many tiles there are, and it can't figure it out. So it just kind of feels a little bit more open than it otherwise would.
It kind of reminds me of what we say with clothing too, like maybe not a bigger print, maybe a smaller print, trick people.
Yes, exactly.
Trick people.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about masking a room small size. That is a term I was like, I need him to explain that to me. Masking a room small size.
Yeah, so again, this comes back to mirrors. What I like to use, mirrors, textures, colors, patterns, and again, unifying it. So the smaller the room, the more unity you want to have. So in a lot of the examples that you've seen me put up, it is a unified tile or a unified paint color, opposed to breaking it up into these different segments.
Is this tile?
No, so this is a wallpaper
Oh, that's
on
gorgeous.
all the walls except the wall that the sink and the toilet are on. So that's all mirror. And so again, so that's bold, and it's okay in that small space. You have to kind of think about how long I'm going to be sitting here. If this were like your living room, it might be overwhelming. But if you're only in there for a few moments, The boulder is just fine, but this totally opened up this space and made it visually interesting and a little bit trippy.
So those are mirrors that I'm looking at, and the wallpaper's on the other wall?
The wallpaper is on all 3 walls except the one.
All 3. Okay,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and then this grid was applied to the mirror and to the wallpaper.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay, and you're saying like in a space like that, it is small, but that is so impactful and beautiful. That's what people are going to be thinking about, not, oh, this is a tiny
Yeah,
room.
exactly. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Okay, so as people are updating and remodeling their homes, there's just some things you can't change, like structural details or things like that. So do you recommend focusing on what we can change, I'm guessing?
Yeah, and the things that we can change are colors, textures, scale of things, opposed to like, oh, if we just like rip this roof off or something, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
so
you have a really good example of something you did for a client.
Yeah, this was it the Murphy bed example?
I believe so.
Yeah, where it was basically you can take a small space and it's like 90% of the time it's functioning as an office or something that you're using day in and day out. But then on the flip side, in the 10% times you need a guest room, it can be that. So I have these 2 examples of this one where it's an office and it can be a guest room, and this other one is a suite, like a studio, really small, right? Basement apartment. They didn't have a lot of space, and so the family room is the bedroom, and the bedroom is the family room.
And they're gorgeous both. Either way you're looking at them, when it's an office, it's beautiful. When it's a guest room, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you had an example of a bath you had to pass through to get to a laundry room.
Yeah, so this was another example, just we had what we had, we're trying to remodel, and so the original layout, you would pass through a powder bathroom to get to the laundry room. And so what we did is put on these barn doors. When I say barn doors, the hardware was sliding, they weren't pocket, and they could open up and close. And obviously, so most of the time they were open, for the day-to-day use,
Sure.
for the homeowner. But if we're having this party or whatever, and they wanted to close off the laundry room, we had these beautiful doors that would close off from the laundry room and let some light in and just play some tricks with light and stuff like that.
That's definitely elevating the barn door.
Yeah.
Those are really,
yeah.
really pretty. Okay, what bunk beds? I know a lot of designers are like, no bunk beds, but you say they're okay in some instances.
Yeah, in some instances, it depends on the purpose of the room, but with bunk beds, you have height. And that's also, and in a small space, you're limited on your floor space. Like I can only fit this one, single bed or this one queen bed. But with bunk beds, you can really stack them in there and get a lot of bodies if that's your objective.
Yeah, which a lot of times it is for people.
Yeah.
And what about this stacking technique? Can we use that in other ways when we have small spaces?
Yeah, cabinets and storage go vertical. So a lot of times you think, again, you're looking just at your floor space and you're like, oh, this is all I've got. But if you can think vertically, you can do lots of things with storage as well.
Okay, I love these ideas. I think a lot of us have, either we have a small space or we have just a room that's small and we're not sure what to do. These are great ideas. Where else can we find more of your ideas?
You can check us out on Instagram at Homeward Design and online at homewarddesign.com.
Easy. Thanks, Joseph.
Thank you.